Hey, what is up, guys? Wallow J here. I'm here with my co-host Egg. Egg, say what's up to the peoples.
What's up to the peoples?
And also our other co-host. He is a dream. Say hello, Steven.
Hello, Stephen.
And joining us, you know him from stuff that he does, like jujitsu, and he's also going to be on PGF World 6. Kieran Kichuk. I said it right, didn't I?
Yay!
That's it. You got it.
Undefeated.
Fuck yeah. That's right. Yeah. Listen, we started asking you questions, like backstage and stuff. So let's just ask you the questions now. Shoot.
Sure.
Yeah. We were talking about what was it? How did you find out about the PGF? That's what you asked, right?
Yeah, I was like, had you heard about it prior to this season at all?
So just from like whatever Brandon was posting, he contacted me in January, so I looked into it a little bit more. But yeah, I had heard of it before, but I hadn't really looked into it too much. I know of some of the athletes, like I think Elijah had won one of the seasons. So I know some of the athletes that came up through there, but this is like the first long, hard look I took into the promotion.
So with that just being, you already kind of have a little bit of a background looking into it and stuff. Have you studied much about the PGF? And if so, like, what are some of your takeaways, like seeing some of the earlier seasons already?
So the only thing I've studied so far is the rules list and the layout of the season that got sent to me. So I just know about the format. I haven't really seen if there's like a meta. It doesn't really matter to me if there's a meta. I'm always just going to do the same thing. I'm going to look to submit people every single match. But yeah, the way it's laid out is pretty cool. I like that it's not single elimination for the first bit. And I think it's 20 athletes and then 8 qualify for the single elimination portion. So it'll be pretty cool. I feel like everyone's going to be able to try more exciting stuff, like without fear of getting counted in the earlier rounds. So I'm pretty excited about that aspect of it.
Have you seen the competitors that are already, in with you?
I've got a full list of the competitors. It was sent to everyone already, so I know who's in it. Yeah.
So speaking
Go
only
ahead,
about
Steve.
the people that have been announced, and I
Okay,
say that not for you, Kieran, because we've had prior guests that might have like tried to spill some beans.
There it is.
Matt Scaff. So of the people that have been announced on the PGF World Instagram, I mean, care to comment about any of them? I mean, I know you got some wins against some of them, or anyone you're looking forward to seeing or matching up against, anything like that.
Yes. So I'm looking forward to Davis Asari.
Sorry.
He's been announced, yeah?
Yep.
I hope so.
He has now.
If he wasn't, he is now.
Yeah, and then
Oh,
there's
Lord.
2 other like really, or at least 3 other high-level standouts. We got PJ Barch, we got Hinato Canuto, and Max Hansen. I think there's some other big names too, but those are going to be like pretty much the hardest matches, I think.
And so based on, and you may not have quite thought it through that much yet, and maybe so, but with the team format, you would want to be on the winning team to make the $20,000 during the regular season. Are you like excited that you may miss some matches with guys that will be on your team to help win the money, or would you rather just get after these guys and have them on another team and just run it and see how it goes?
Well, I think it's going to be unavoidable because I think everybody I just listed and myself will definitely be in the top 8. So regardless of what team we end up on, I'm going to have to match up with the best guys in the bracket. So yeah, it's inevitable. Those matches are going to happen. At least some of them. Maybe I miss 1 or 2 of them because we're on a team and then we end up in opposite brackets in the playoff. But it's very, very likely that I'm going to get at least most of those matches.
Well, I mean, to Steven's point, I'm right there with you, Kieran. I definitely believe you're going to be in the top 8. I definitely believe you're going to be there on Friday in that finale tournament. But the $100,000 goes to the team that wins the regular season. And so we've seen in the past where some teams have had an easier path because they've been able to line up the stars and get a lot of the tougher guys, so they didn't have to face each other, because you won't face each other on the same team. But I'm going to take it a little bit differently. Obviously we have some legends as coaches. The GOAT, Roger Gracie. The mad scientist of no-gi jiu-jitsu, the founder of almost Eddie Bravo, Higa Machado, and of course Andre Gaval. Do any of those really excite you as coaches, or anyone you're looking forward to possibly playing for?
It'd be cool to get to know any one of them for sure. I've met Eddie a few times, but he's cool, and he's obviously got a freaky jiu-jitsu mind, so it might be cool to pick that a little bit. But I think someone who would stand out to me would be to train with Hodger. That's something that I've always wanted to do. He's like the jiu-jitsu greatest of all time. I think at least 5 world titles, maybe 10, weight and absolute, 5 years in a row, I think it might have been. And then all subs, double gold at ADCC. So it'd be kind of cool, if not even just like for technical stuff, just to talk to him and see how he thinks and how he approaches competition. So Hodger would be my number one choice. No offense to the other guys, they're all legends, all super cool. But I was in London recently, and I swung over to Hodger's competition practice because I wanted to hopefully meet him, but he didn't come in the one day that I had, unfortunately.
No, you definitely can't go wrong with that, man. I think anybody that has studied much jiu-jitsu in the last decade would be more than happy to have Hodger in their phone to reach out to, maybe even to have a little advice on anything related to jiu-jitsu. So it's definitely not disrespectful at all to anyone to say to have Hodger. I think everybody else would probably say that too.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
So listen,
go ahead.
No,
Wally,
go
got
ahead.
it. Okay, very well. We're very, very, very nice to each other.
You guys are so polite. I love it.
Almost Canadian.
Exactly. After my own heart.
There we go. So, honestly, I think you're about made for the PGF, brother. Wallow and I have both been listening to podcasts of yours previously. I think one of the
I've not listened to anything. I've not studied or looked into anything at all. Just those two guys have looked into it.
I appreciate your honesty.
I'm sorry, Steven. You got in here a little late because of technical difficulties. We were talking in the back. We love you, the dream.
I just like messing with him. But.
Yes, he does, Karen. So, point being, like one of them I listened to, like of your first 29 wins, 93% of them were subs. In the black belt when you're competing. Looking at East Coast trials, you got the semifinals. You had 5 wins to get there. 4 of those.
6.
My bad. Friends like these, man. Friends like these. My bad. My bad. I'm sorry. So it was 5 subs, one by points.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the point. But that's a huge percentage of subbing. So all right, do you feel really comfortable with that? I mean, it seems like you're out there to kill it all the time. So the PGF's made for you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree, man. I like any rule set, really. There's pluses and minuses to each one, but they force you to work on new skills. But particularly the PGF, there's no points, so that definitely favors me. I'm a submission guy. I like to attack from anywhere. Sorry, excuse me.
You're good.
Yeah. So I like to attack from anywhere. There's no points, and I think if it draws out, no one scores anything. So it's all or nothing, and it's short time. That's good for me. I've got a very dexterous style. I like to connect to people. I like to use isometric connection to build up to the back, to build up to legs, and that's what goes on early in the match. Like Marcelo Garcia says, there's 2 matches every no-gi match. You have the jiu-jitsu match at the beginning, and then you have the wrestling match when we're all sweaty towards the end. So with the 6-minute round, it's just a jiu-jitsu match. We're not going to get too sweaty in those 6 minutes. We can go hard. I can use my connections, build onto legs, build onto upper body attacks, back exposure. So I like how it's laid out. I got to watch some matches because maybe there's some quirks of the rule set that I haven't considered. But from on paper, it looks like an amazing rule set. It looks super fun.
So what do you think of the schedule that the Monday through Thursday, 3 matches a day?
I'm wondering how I'm going to manage my training schedule, because even when I'm no matter what, if I'm not training for anything, I train every day, at least once a day. I do a drill session and a sparring session. I'd probably like to continue doing that, but it's definitely going to require some forethought on my part, because depending what matches line up, I might not want to do anything in the morning, or like 3 competitive matches a day. I might just be way too beat up to even train at all. So that might just be my whole jiu-jitsu fix for the week, is just competition matches, which is something new to me. I've been doing this for 15 years. I've never experienced anything like that. So I don't really know how it's going to play out, but I'm interested to see. And then, yeah, hopefully I'm able to move around in the mornings or something, but I have really no idea how it's going to play out.
For the weight class, you're coming in no weight cut or anything like that, right?
Nope. I'm coming in under, which is definitely a disadvantage, just because there's only one weigh-in for the whole week. It's on the Sunday, so by Friday, Davis and PJ could probably be like 190, 185, whatever they actually walk around at.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't really bother me. I'm always undersized at 77 kilos, even at 170. I just kind of go in. My technique's my greatest asset, anyways.
For sure. I would say definitely, like I competed in season 2, so kind of having done it, if you didn't know, it's like the 3 matches are a lot every night. You can do stuff in the mornings though, often, like keeping it light and moving around, but there are guys who've ended up like losing weight throughout the week because they were doing so much work and not quite getting enough calories in and things like that. So you're on the right track thinking about all these things already. Elijah Carlton, he worked out last season. He taught a couple classes to to people in the area when he was up there last season and trained and drilled and stuff. So it's not like out of the realm of possibility to be training during the week, but it's definitely those 3 competitive matches every night. I had never done it either, and I had been training for quite a long time, black belt as well. And that was the most exciting part though. I think, going into it, not knowing what it was, but then getting that opportunity to condense so many rounds back to back to back was exciting, man. And something that I think any real competitive person is like gonna want to do. So you're sounding like the kind of athlete that's really geared up for this the right way. But I would say that a 0, a draw, it feels a lot more like a loss every night. It doesn't feel like there was no points and like, nothing happened. It feels a lot like a loss because you see someone else score points and you didn't score points. And now like the standings get shooken up a little bit and stuff like that. So mentally, I just had, caution on you guys to think about that in the way that it's like, it feels like a loss. It doesn't feel like a draw. It doesn't feel like nobody got points. It feels like, oh, I lost. I don't care what he got, but I didn't get anything, and that's a loss, So
if you're not first, you're last, baby.
100%.
Shake and bake. Shake and bake.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
No. But to Steven's point, though, it not only feels like a loss, it is a loss. Okay, in the PGF rule set, you have 12 chances. You have 12 chances to step up to the mat and earn some points to get you to that finale tournament. Every time it slips through your fingers, it is a loss. What do you think about that?
What kind of tallies are we talking about? Like in previous seasons, what would be a good score going into the playoffs? Are we talking like 3 points a match on average? So maybe like a couple of chokes, couple of finishes, couple of draws. What does it usually look like?
Yeah. I think that would probably get you in. Most of them would be all breaks. Probably would get you in a lot of the 18 or so would get you in most of the seasons. And I think most of us think this will be one of the lower scoring seasons overall. So the breaks might be more valuable than they ever have been before because a lot of
margin will be slimmer.
Yeah, we had guys sometimes when I was a black belt, there were several 4 or 5 blue belts in our season. And so like we were all like, all right, I'm getting 6, maybe 7 on this guy. So I may pass up a joint lock to get the choke. Looking for different points. And so I don't know that that'll be an option for most of you guys this season, with each other to skip something that's there to try to look for the next higher scoring option.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's gonna be weird to try to play that because you're gonna have to judge. I mean, I'm the type of guy who does a little bit of research, so I think hopefully that'll help my judgment. But it would suck to pass up an easy, 10-second heel hook, and then the match gets crazy for the next 5.5 minutes. You get some attrition on your body for the week, and then maybe you don't even end up exposing another submission. So, yeah, it's there's a lot of interesting aspects at play.
So, Kieran,
Within the
you're
1st minute, you go ahead, bro.
Go ahead, Wallow. No, you first. Your point
Well,
matters.
well,
In the first minute,
I was just gonna say, well, yeah, within the 1st minute, you get an extra point. So if you're able to get that heel hook in 10 seconds, take it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, let's go. 4 points.
yep. So
Yeah.
I'll take it.
If you get the choke, it's also an extra point in that 1st minute. Any 1st minute submission is an extra point.
Nice.
I was going to say, you've already picked up on some serious strategy there. And so I would commend upon you to look at Elijah Carlton's interviews, both with us and with Inside BJJ podcast, because he throws out some of that strategy. Because at some point, you got to realize, is this opponent somebody that I will be able to get the choke on? Okay, I might be able to, or he might be able to stall me out. So maybe this is the guy I decided, okay, I'm just going to go for that elbow genie point in that 1st minute, just get that quick, break. I'm just going to, take it the heel hook, take it home, and rest my energy for the next guy where I could actually use that energy to get that kill. There's games within games here, man. It's really interesting, and as much as people like to call him the bad guy, the jabroni, man, he's been there the most, and he's won the most, and he's kind of got it dialed in. So I'd look at his strategy that he's espoused on his podcast.
Why is he the bad guy? What did the jabroni ever do to anyone?
Well, that was his. Well, he was the first heel of the PGF.
Okay.
He's
Gotcha.
doing a little bit of a babyface turn, but he was the first heel of the PGF, and then he rebranded himself the jabroni.
He beat a bunch of guys, and they were salty about it. That's essentially what it turned out to be.
And he flipped people off. I mean, that's just rude to flip people off. So
Yeah, it is kind of rude.
I mean, he's saluting them. So Keelan actually made a
He's
comment.
like,
Keelan made a comment about what you were talking about, saying that they're trying to get the team to train together as a team with your head coach. So if you're looking for a morning session or whatever,
well, I would hope we get some time with the coaches, or else that would kind of make having the coaches redundant. So at least a little bit of one-on-one time, maybe, or a group session. Maybe they have something planned out they want for their entire team. I'm sure there'll be something.
Do you think it would be better just trying to pick their brain, or like a training session will do too?
I mean, they'll probably go hand in hand. I gotta do things if someone asks me a jiu-jitsu question, I stop them within the first couple words and just tell them to show me what the issue is. I can't verbalize it. I can't internalize verbal instruction. I can see someone do it and still not get it. I have to do it myself. So if I'm gonna be learning anything, we're gonna be doing jiu-jitsu.
Oh, right on. Shit. Listen. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so with that in your training, being a kinetic style kind of learner, do you like more situational stuff, or do you like a lot of drilling, repetitive movements of the same stuff, so you can get those little small steps over and over and over again? I
do at least an hour and a half a day of dead drills with a compliant partner who's playing out a certain context, and I'm running through a movement pattern. So I do that at least 90 minutes a day. That's just standard drilling, right? Just you need to have a good partner and instruct them. When you're doing 5, 6, 7 links of techniques, you just need an uke who plays out the context for you. But there's just a lot of words of saying. I do dead drills, and then for the live situations, I do probably 30 minutes a day of 18 to 30 minutes a day of live situations. So starting bottom mount, starting on my back. Sometimes we'll do less static stuff, like you let your partner shoot a takedown on you, and as soon as your hips touch the mat, you're avoiding score, and you're live from there, so you can progress through a situation. So yeah, I do about that much plus an hour of just open sparring.
So talking about that, what's your standard day? I mean, I know it always situationally dependent, but what's your normal day like?
I wake up at 8 a.m. and then I have like a morning routine. I have a bunch of supplements I got to take, all WADA legal supplements. I got Tonkat Ali. I got some vitamin C in there.
Some
So I got
acai.
no acai, sir. All WADA legal.
How dare you?
Yeah. So I take my supplements. I take like athletic greens and stuff. I got a green supplement, and then I meal prep all my breakfast. So once I get everything together, I do some deep work on my laptop, video editing, talking to potential clients, things like that. And then at 11 a.m. I start drilling, and then 12 I take a class taught by one of the guys at B Team, Nikki Ryan or Damien, and then we do situations and sparring after that. And then I usually get a couple hours off in the afternoon to take a nap, eat lunch. And then I go and I teach 2 classes at the B Team at night. I'm covering for JB right now, so I'm teaching 2 a night. Usually I just get 1. And sorry, also I lift weights usually. So I usually do jiu-jitsu in the morning and then the weights at night after I teach.
So you're still splitting time between Canada and Austin, or all Austin all the time now?
I moved here, I think, a month and a half ago. I came down.
Oh, full time.
Yeah. I spent like 2 months here, 3 months last year, and then I just moved down in January of this year.
What was it about coming down there and visiting that made you decide that moving to Austin was the right choice?
Well, what really made me decide is the jiu-jitsu culture in Canada. I just really couldn't get what I needed. I was offering people, free training. I'm literally the only world-class no-gi guy who had stayed in Canada. Nobody's interested in doing no-gi training. So I was working with like my students up until now. So I was actually in the States shopping around for where I wanted to train. And I tried a couple spots and I thought, B Team, I have something to offer them. They have something to offer me. It's a mutually beneficial situation. I get a lot of freedom just because of my situation in Canada. I've become accustomed to managing my own training program, managing my own career. There's some certain spots that look pretty attractive from the outside, but then the coaches want to, have a say in what you can do, both on and off the mats. And that just simply was not going to be the case at B Team. So that's why aside from it being one of the highest level, if not the highest level room for lightweight guys in the world, those were the reasons that I selected B Team.
And obviously this, bro. I mean, where else are you going to do this?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna get away with that picture anywhere else.
Yeah, that ready to
Come
go.
on, man. That's the perfect fit.
Yep.
Sorry, I had to do it.
I didn't.
That's okay. I put it out there.
So Karen, maybe we could back up a little bit. We kind of started in the middle. Maybe just talk us through like how you started jiu-jitsu, where you started, and your stops along the path to the B Team.
Okay, I started in 2009 at a place called Lynn Martial Arts in Canada, and at the time there was less than 30 black belts in Canada, which is a huge nation. And he was the only black belt I got to train with, I think, probably for 6 or 7 years, except maybe Edwin Najmi came for a seminar one time. JT Torres came for a seminar one time. Other than that, I just had the one black belt to train with for 7-8 years.
And that was mostly traditional, like gi stuff, right?
Yeah, I did no-gi probably once or twice a week, and every time I competed, I competed in no-gi as well without really training for it. So I would just do the gi, and then it would be like an extra $30 to do no-gi. And I never really even put any extra thought into it because I would always have, like, when I was a teenager, 100% submission rates no-gi, but I just would never think like, oh, maybe I should put some time into this. I was always just like, that was stupid. They suck. Back to the gi. But so I competed, didn't train too much, wrestled maybe once a week. And then when I got to high school, I started wrestling for 3 years. It was not that good, but I tried. And I was still training jiu-jitsu as well and competing at the same time. When I got to about 2016, 2017, I started coming down to the States, to DC. I was working with Team Lloyd Irvin. They got some athletes, like at the time, they had Jamil Taylor, Malachi Edmond, Angelo Claiborne, Muhammad Ali, Tim Spriggs. Yeah, there's some like really, really good guys in the gi, and I was still pursuing my gi dreams at the time. So I trained with them on and off, so probably 3 to 4 months a year for 5 years. And I decided, they have super high level MMA program, a super high level gi program. But when we did no gi, it was kind of the same old for me. It was just ragtag, throw together the training. And I'm grateful that the guys were willing to take the gi off for, a session a day while I was in town. But I just decided I needed people who were like proficient in the meta, and not only that, high level in the meta, and had like a more full understanding of the no-gi game. So from there, I kind of boiled it down to a couple options and checked them out, and now here I am at the B team in Austin, Texas.
So from what it sounds like is that you're not necessarily at the point where you're looking for someone to coach you or necessarily be your instructor or teacher, but you need a room full of like-minded maybe individuals that you can like bounce ideas off of and like workshop together. Is that kind of what I'm getting at? Is that right, or am I wrong on
Yeah.
that?
I mean, that's how I learned no-gi in the first place. I didn't really train no-gi until 2020. I didn't train it seriously until 2021. So I learned it at the time. All the gyms were shut down during the pandemic. We got pretty overregulated in Canada. So I was training with my friends, and we just kind of worked with each other, and exactly like you said, workshop. So that's just kind of a learning style that I've got accustomed to. I guess 2020 was 4 years ago now. So I've kind of ingrained that strategy of learning in my own head. And, I enjoy having like freedom in my career. Not that they never stopped me from doing anything at Team Lloyd Irvin. For the record, like I left Team Lloyd Irvin strictly because I wanted a more competitive no-gi room. And, but yeah, other options, like there was a career stuff to consider.
I think everybody in your team is that way. There's no like real coach, right? Am I
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, it's the same. Like, if you want information, you need to know what information you need, and you need to go seek it out, right, from the appropriate party. Everyone's more than willing to help you out, right? But everyone's concerned with their own training. So you kind of got to make sure you're the type of person who knows how to understand what they need, right? Not just your favorite thing, right? Like if I was just always trying to pick like Nicky Ryan's brain about leg locking or something, yeah, that'd be the most fun. But I got to learn how to do some funky stuff. So I'll talk to Craig. You know what I mean?
So with the way that the PGF, is laying out the season and everything, and the big money, does that become now the standard, for tournaments? Having that big of cash prize.
I think it's going to be more prevalent. I know PGF's got one of the biggest budgets in recent memory. I think the only people who have held a torch to that have been Spider. There was a gi federation, I think, around 2015-16 that were doing ridiculous payouts. But other than that, I think it's been AIGA, now PGF, and Spider. So hopefully there's other brands that have the means to follow through. And hopefully, as athletes, we're able to put on performances that can justify these payouts.
So after you win each match, which you win a lot, we see you flex a little bit. Does that make people salty? What's that all about?
Oh, well, I've always been like pretty skinny. So it started as like an ironic thing where I would like hit a flex knowing I'm skinny. I was like, yeah. And now it's just like when you use a word ironically and then it just ends up in your vocabulary. Yeah, the flex is now just in my post-match vocabulary for real.
That's awesome. And so I watched something that was on your Instagram recently too. I think it's from a podcast you did, and you guys were talking about the bastard. And I thought the way that you explained that was something that's really like hard to explain to a lot of people for a competitor. Like that thing is like it's not the same person that you see every day in regular life. Can you tell the people who are listening right now a little bit about the bastard and like what that is?
Yeah, it's just a nickname I give to my flow state. It's almost like an alter ego. Yeah, it's just, I think I'm a nice guy. I I don't really like hurting people, but a lot of times that ends up being my job. And a lot of times the community is small enough, right? I'm friends with these people that I have to go out there and try to hurt, and they're trying to hurt me too. So it goes two ways, right? Like I can't get my feelings hurt. They shouldn't get their feelings hurt, and many of them don't, but I still don't like doing things to people that I like. So I kind of condition myself to just, be in the moment, flow with the go, and just, focus on one outcome and one outcome only, winning by submission. And that's why I call it the bastard, because actually, I don't know if I've told this story before, but at one of the trials in my first match, I fucked this kid's leg up. Like I snapped his shit right in half, like his patella sublux, like all the way behind his knee. And then the following week, I was having like panic attacks about that. I just felt so guilty and so bad. Because this kid was like, I didn't look, they released the bracket, 15 minutes before we competed. I didn't really care who was in front of me. All I knew is they were in front of me. But yeah, he was just like a blue belt kid, and I kind of fucked him up, and I felt bad about it. But that's when I kind of had to come to the realization that I am someone else out there. I'm doing what I have to do, and I'm doing what people are trying to do to me.
Yeah, and that's the thing I talk about with my students, and then actually Craig even talked about it with his match with Vinny, about how some people, they'll let you hurt them a little bit so they can hurt you more, so they can counter you with the bigger break, or they expect someone to be nice perhaps and let them off the hook, and then they're going to come back and they would do it to you, right? And so it's one of those really, really hard things for a nice person in their regular life to say, like, I'm gonna fully break this guy's arm, or I'm gonna dislocate your shoulder if you don't stop right now, and I think that's really hard for some people to accept. But as a competitor stepping out there, you have to make that choice like ahead of time, that I'm willing to do this, or you're going to lose matches, or you're going to miss opportunities that are going to be presented to you. And so, yeah, you have to be that way. And it could be a friend or it could be whoever, but you have to apply the technique appropriately or it's not going to work. And if they don't respect the situation enough, they will get hurt. That's unfortunately, like you said, that's the game that we're playing. And it does happen, and it still sucks when you're the one that does it, but I agree. And that's what I like, the way that you said it. It's not something that everybody thinks about a lot, but competitors have to like make that choice. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. And then there's the confidence aspect. I'm like an anxious person. I overthink a lot. So I kind of have to coach myself into a mindset where I'm not thinking about anything. Just, the only thing I'm thinking about is physical stimulus around me and what's going on directly in front of me. And I think that's pretty important. It was one of the most important things I learned in training in DC was that, sorry, I lost my train of thought, guys.
Happens to the best of us.
So,
it was the bastard just came in and he was in his own flow state.
Yeah, exactly.
So we should go ahead, please. Sorry.
I was saying, I remembered I was just long-winded way of saying, it's not, you can't think about the result if you want the result. It's your immediate actions that lead to the result. So you got to think of what's directly in front of you. That's where I was going with it.
No, it's great. So when we introduced ourselves earlier, we gave you our names, but just as a heads up, you have the official photographer of the PGF over there. You have the announcer of the PGF down here. I'm one of the commentators, and so as I'm describing you to the fans out there watching, when should I tell them the bastard has hit the mats? Like, is there a point when you go from nice guy Kieran to the bastard?
it's a slow process. You know, I have a whole sequence of things I do, a bunch of mental exercises I do, a bunch of meditation stuff. But when I walk out on the mats, I do have a trigger, like a go time trigger, and you'll see me like wipe my feet off, left, right, and before I go out. That's probably a good call right there. If you watch any of my matches, I do it literally every match.
The bastard has taken the mat.
Yep.
Check. There we
We
go.
got a comment out here from Dangerous Waters MMA. It says, "Love that you guys are putting so much effort to support martial arts and grappling." Yeah, BMAC's done a great job, man. You know, PGF's done an amazing job. I'm not sure if you've seen the documentary "Grapplers, No Gi, No Money," highlighting PGF season 5. You know, it talks a little bit about the money and what's been done. Now for upcoming season 6. So, have you seen it or not yet?
I haven't. I didn't even know it dropped yet. I saw some. I thought it was coming out later on. I've seen some posts about it on Instagram, but no, I haven't seen it yet.
Well, now you have a homework assignment.
All right,
I didn't say
gotta.
that. That wasn't me. That did not come from me.
He's probably right. He's probably right. I'm definitely gonna have to watch some of the previous seasons as well. Like I said, get a feel for the meta, get a feel for how many points I should be shooting for, so I don't limit myself mentally. Yeah, there's a lot of research I got to do. I've actually got other events, or at least one other event before then, which is the only reason I haven't started putting more research time into the PGF. I'm doing the ADCC trials in 2 weeks, and then I've got about 3.5 weeks to get ready for PGF.
I mean, most of the competitors in the PGF season 6 are going to be right there with you.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to do some research on them right there.
Yeah, I think a couple of them might even have invites to ADCC. At least PJ, I would assume, is getting one.
I would think that they might give PJ one as well. But it'd be interesting to see who else like that's in the roster that would be at these trials coming up, though, because everybody's trying to get those spots.
Yeah, and every trials, it's there's some lesser known to me lesser known guys on the PGF roster, right? We have like some super famous guys, and then some guys I haven't heard of, but you never know. Every trials, there's new names that come out, and it's going to be so close. Like maybe someone will come riding in on a brand new shiny hype train. That'll be cool. Get some wind into this event.
I think 2019 was the trials that Nicky Rod won the West Coast or whatever, and I was in that division and didn't make it that far, unfortunately. But it was crazy. Like that day, though, everybody's like, "Look at this guy. Who is this? Oh, you've heard about him, from the East Coast stuff, and he's this guy, and then now he's a super established, grappler in the world, and everybody obviously knows who he is or whatever. But in 2019, it was still this really like unknown thing. So trials is really like where a lot of people start trying to find their footing in the professional grappling scene, and if you can look back and see a lot of guys at a earlier trials for themselves, not quite be who they are now. I think that's the best part about it. You're going to go out there and get some quality opponents if you show up at least the North American trials. I can't say for everywhere else, I guess.
Were you taking a shot at anybody who did the European trials?
Yeah, what's that all about?
Do they have the turnout? Do they have as many people?
So
no,
we'll tell Dave. Okay, Stephen, we'll tell Davis that you don't think European trials is anything.
I didn't say it wasn't anything. It's not North American trials, though.
All right,
it's not
please
the same.
clip that for Davis later on.
I'll agree with that.
I think anybody would agree with that if they've really looked at it a lot, and that's no disrespect to anybody that's won any of the trials.
So.
I think respect to obviously anyone that's in there, but the North American trials are sold out every time. So it's the biggest bracket you've ever seen for grappling and jiu-jitsu styled submission only events or whatever you want to say. 256 guys in a bracket. What is that? You don't really see that in any other situation. So you got to give that the credit that it deserves.
I think the only event with more matches is going to be PGF.
Shit, I competed in brackets where
Yep.
there was
There you
two
go.
people, and I came in third.
Those 12, and see, that's the thing. The PGF is like the 12 matches are guaranteed. If you suck day one, you get to suck on day two as well, unless you get to turn it around. And then day three, you also get to suck unless you turn it around or decide to go home. That's the fun, exciting part. But also, like after a hard day, it's like, man, I don't know if I want to show up again tomorrow, but obviously the competitor in you is going to show up. You're going to wipe your feet off and you're going to hit the button and go. It's definitely a mental game that way, though. The 12 guarantees. It's fun though, man. Someone like you, I think, just talking to you this little bit, man, it's gonna be a fun week getting to know you and watching you compete.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
So I got a comment here also from Keelan saying Kieran seems like a really well put together. I look forward to watching him this season. I think all
Yeah,
of us.
that's a ruse. I'm just I just speak confidently. My my life is chaos, bro. But thank you.
This is what the internet's for.
Yeah.
But if you want to have somebody happy with you, having the producer, the head producer of it all happy with you, getting that spotlight on you, it's a good thing, man. It's a good deal. Hey, so but you're talking about the mental stuff. I heard some other podcasts where you talk about you use mantras a lot. Do you still
Mhm.
do that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I use the same mantra probably the last 5 years. 5 years at least. It's pretty simple, just bare bones how I get into like my flow state. I first think of things that are external, not around me right now, that I'm very happy to have in my life, and things that I know will be in my life regardless of the outcome of what's about to happen. And so I acknowledge this in my mantra. The first thing I say is my life is beautiful and I enjoy every moment. And then I know I have to let those things kind of melt away so I can focus on the aspect of my life that's relevant here and now, which is the fact that I am a black belt and I am the best that I can be. So those are two things that are in my mantra as well. The whole thing is my life is beautiful and I enjoy every moment. I'm a black belt, I am a champion, and I am the best that I can be. And that's just something that the repetition kind of helps me get, when combined with some meditative strategies and a proper warm up, help me get into the zone and into my flow state, my alter ego, if you will.
The bastard.
Yes, sir.
I'm excited.
Me too.
This is
That just got me hyped, man. I'm not even gonna lie. That whole thing, I'm ready.
from the roster. Who do you think would be like beneficial to have on your team that might be able to help you get that 100 grand?
PJ's a winning machine, so he'd be a pretty good asset. I'm gonna probably list to you the number 1 and 2 seeds. So
Fair enough.
yeah,
And go.
yeah, that would be PJ, and then I don't know who's gonna get second. I don't know what the seeding process is gonna be like, but it's undeniable that in competition, I think out of everyone, PJ is the most accomplished.
Egghead, do you want to tell them what the seeding process for the draft is going to be like?
So Kieran, you're looking at 3 of the guys are going to decide the pick. Who goes first in the auction draft. So it is an auction draft. So each one of you will go up in front of all 4 coaches. They all have 10,000 PGF points to spread amongst their 5 competitors. Bidding each other up, and whoever wins the bid of that competitor gets them on their team. But to decide who comes first. Previous to that, this podcast, the PGF Insider podcast, we will have a mock draft, if you will, kind of a traditional snake draft. If you've ever done fantasy football, where it'll go, Team Egghead. Since I won last season with my picks, thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, I know you're tired of hearing it, and you're tired of hearing it again for next season once I win this one. And then we'll go, to the second place, which might have been Walla, might have been Steven, I can't remember. And then, then we'll go to Miggy, who lost, I think, and then we'll come back, and back and forth. And however we pick, like if we were like picking our teams for that type of draft, that will decide the auction draft, who the order. And
All right, since you got the first pick, are you picking Kieran this year as the number 1 pick?
Who's number 1?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole roster hasn't been announced. So it's premature. You'll just have to wait.
He's
You
just
think-
as scared to say stuff in person as
Yeah,
he
so
is.
you thought that you was
He'll type.
slick.
He'll type.
No,
He'll type his
no.
answer in some blog.
No,
He'll
they're
have
trying
like
to
a-
get they're
Anonymously on Reddit.
No,
Kieran
no.
fucking sucks.
I think Egghead should
No
choose
way he
anyone.
makes the playoff.
Anyone but Kieran.
Oh, they're just salty. They keep losing to me, Kieran. It's
Sure.
not your fault or mine. It's okay. They just
Yeah.
have to deal with it.
Yeah,
No,
maybe
no,
there's
I'm
some
not- I'm not
truth on
getting-
Reddit.
I'm not going to give them extra information. It's like Texas, Hold'em. I'm not giving you extra info. You'll
Listen,
find my pick out when I can make it.
I live and die with my team. Okay, my guy got hurt on day one. We went to the spa. We regrouped and we tried, and it just didn't come together for us as a team last season. I'm still gonna go with my guys, though. I'm gonna look out for them.
Commendable.
Same. I pick with my heart. I'm like, what? PJ Bar's still available? Fuck, I'm just gonna pick Elijah. What's up? That's my boy.
Mhm.
We all know Wallow's going to pick Elijah. No question.
You can have him.
Sorry.
We'll see, Karen. I mean, any team would be very lucky to have you. Your sub, hunting mindset. Like I said, it's made for the PGF. You're going to be throwing up points left and right. I have no doubt you're going to be in the top 8. And obviously, just speaking to you, we're excited to know you as a person. But as a fan, because we are all huge fans of the PGF, I'm freaking excited to see you on those mats.
Bro, we're dorks. Sorry.
I appreciate it.
I'm not sorry.
If there were no dorks out there, I wouldn't have my dream job. So, thanks for being grappling fans, boys.
Hey, so
Yeah.
so this is your dream job then? Fuck it, right?
Yeah, no, I don't want to do anything else.
Well,
I've known this since I started, and I fell in love literally the first day I ever did jiu-jitsu. I started training twice a day the first day I ever tried it, and then I knew that's what I wanted to do as a career. And that I didn't know what that meant. I just knew that whatever I was going to be doing was going to involve jiu-jitsu, whether I end up as a full-time instructor or a professional athlete like I am now, or an online instructor like I am now. I
as a
just knew I was going to do
professional-
something with jiu-jitsu.
as an athlete, what's like the ideal schedule where you're like, training, competing, making money, and just doing that and living off of that? What's like the ideal schedule for that?
Like day-to-day schedule, or like how many, what do you mean by that?
Throughout the year. I mean, like you're a professional athlete. What do you think would be like the ideal schedule for an athlete to like earn money and live just off
guess-
the money that they're
I was about to say. So I guess the question I think he's trying to get at is, as a professional grappler, what percentage would you say of your income / whatever is spent on the professional grappling part, and perhaps how much is teaching and instructionals because you're such a high level grappler that people seek out your information and your content? Do you see a huge payday from the actual competitions, or is it mostly that you're a good instructor and a good coach and that's why you would get paid more than the average grappler?
It's definitely like tied together, but no, I definitely don't just live off of competition pay. It's just, for me, it wouldn't be possible right now. But what winning in competition has made possible is building a brand and building sort of a rapport with. I'm not a very famous person. I've got a small group of hardcore fans who, recognize what I'm capable of doing to black belts and are interested in learning. So I'm able to demonstrate and draw in clients that way. So it's all tied together, but definitely instruction is important, right? I'm still teaching classes. I'm still hustling on private lessons, things like that. I've got all sorts. I have to have all sorts of income streams to make this work.
How much better would you be if you didn't have to have one of those streams and you made enough money competing alone?
I think I have a beautiful life and I like what I do. So I don't really know what I would do with the extra time. I've already found a way to do as much jiu-jitsu as my body can handle naturally. I've toned it down as I'm getting a little bit older. I used to train 3 times a day jiu-jitsu. Now I just do 1 or 2 jiu-jitsu and 1 physical training. But yeah, I like what I do. I like teaching. I enjoy spreading this martial art. I like making online content. I like all of it. I have a beautiful life. I probably would be doing the same things.
Beautiful.
No, I like it because you're talking about, you're kind of a burgeoning, superstar. I mean, your name is getting known, but now with like the guaranteed 12 matches, that's a lot of content. It's going to be a lot of really great content because Keelan drove the competitive jiu-jitsu, like filming, using the gimbals, getting right in the action. You're going to have great stuff that people are going to be able to see. And if you do as well as we think you are, I mean, I'm just filling the room right now. If you do
First
as well,
pick.
Yeah,
I had a moment there going, Steven. Appreciate it.
Just say it. Sound like a first pick moment to me. I don't know.
All right. We'll see. We shall see. All right. Pick will happen when it happens. Anyway, so all right, damn it, Steven. The point being, I hope this catapults you. I mean, and obviously you have a chance to make 40 grand here. I mean, the team that wins is 100 grand, 5 competitors to be 20 grand a piece. And then if you win that, the finale tournament, that's another 20 grand on top of that. So you got up 40 grand for a week's work, not too freaking shabby. Plus a hell of a lot of
sounds like a steak and lobster dinner at the end of the week to me.
There you go. So I'm just pumped for you, man. Go, Steven.
I have one more question, I guess. Without much, I guess, experience through the PGF, but there's a debate between a lot of people who've been in and like the talking heads here and things like that, guys who don't compete but just like to talk a lot, stuff like that, about whether the regular season is the most important thing to win. Like that's the actual champion, the guy who scores the most points during the regular season, or is it the person after the top 8 are settled, the guy who wins the playoff at the end of the season? Which one of those would mean the most to you as a competitor to win the regular season and have the most points, or to win the playoff of the top 8 after that?
I can tell you objectively why it's better to win the top 8, because that's what the rules say the first place prize is.
My man.
If you ain't first, you're last. That's the only thing that matters. I'm not there to win a preseason. I'm there to win the whole thing.
Shake and bake.
I couldn't find any other way to end this than on that note. We'll catch you next week.
I'm
Peace.
with it.
Adios, muchachos. Hasta luego. Hasta